Hi, I'm Stefan, and this is Couch Theater. My guest today is Greg, and basically what we're trying to do is get people to enjoy more movies. Today we're just going to prep you a little bit for a movie called Radius, which is on Netflix.
Yeah, I haven't seen this one.
It's pretty good. I like it. It's a little bit simpler than some of the movies we've reviewed already. Some are pretty complex things going on. This is a lot more simple, but it's also a lot more human, I'd say. I'm not going to describe it at all, but I will say this. It's
simple but human definitely has my mind going.
Yeah.
It's an interesting way to set it up, for sure.
It also is a bit fantastical. It is kind of like sci-fi, but that encompasses so much, and it's not like science fiction.
Okay, so we're not dealing with something that's set in our time, our reality kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is set in our time, in our reality, but something fantastical happens. I'll also say this movie's pretty dark. Pretty fucking dark.
I'm usually okay with dark.
So am I. The darker, the better, you know? Yeah, and I don't know if I should say anything else. There are a couple really interesting themes going on, and I think we should probably just save those for after the film, because they are pretty blunt in your face.
So, am I trying to figure something out in this movie, or is it going to explain things off the bat pretty clearly?
Well, let me put it this way. There are two main characters, and something happens, and they have to deal with it, something fantastical. And they just do it as best they can, as anyone in their situation would try to do as a human being. And I'll leave it at that. I mean,
okay.
You can go from there and jump into it, but I think let's just leave it at that and, open yourself up to that. How would you react in this situation? How would you, given the circumstances? And
a couple of normal people, and then something crazy happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, put in a impossible situation.
Oh. Okay.
And what do you do with that? How do you react to that? And how do you explain the impossible? You know? So we'll stop here. We're going to watch the movie. Greg has never seen the movie before.
No.
But I have, obviously. So,
yeah, normally when we do this, we're both trying to explain to the audience here what we're about to watch. I'm prepared for it, but here we are. You preparing me for this. I can't wait. I'm really excited to see it now.
Trying something a little bit new.
Yeah.
So we'll see what your reaction is immediately right after, and then we'll all get back together and discuss right after. So,
all right, we'll be right back.
At this point, pause and then watch Radius, which is on Netflix right now, and then come on back and listen to the rest. All right, and we're back. And if you're listening and you haven't watched the movie, then you're not following directions. Damn it.
I watched the movie. Just now, actually.
Me too. I was there for that.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, yeah, right.
All right, man. What the That was trippy.
That's a pretty trippy movie, right? It starts out kind of confusing. You're not sure what's happening.
Yeah.
Or you get it pretty quick. I mean, the title of the movie
gives away a lot. Yeah, once you see what's going on with the whole people dying around him.
Right.
And he figures it out pretty quick, so
yeah. It jumps you right into the action. There's no, story that you have to get through. It's just immediately like, oh, shit. And then that ending where just as soon as you're like, okay, I get it, people die around him, it just, he's a serial killer? And not only
Totally
that,
unexpected.
he killed
her
the
sister.
and he was about to abduct her. Like, that's a trip.
Yeah. Some sort of justice in it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
I really enjoyed it for the sheer like interesting factor that's going on. Like, what is going on? Where is this going? How are they going to figure this out?
Right.
I got to say, the writing was a little.
That's true.
The acting is a little.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
but the concept itself and where they go with it is interesting enough that I really enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think.
I laughed a few times.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Some of the lines are like, oof,
are pretty bad.
But the situations that they put them in and the way that they're trying to navigate it and all of those complex things, like, I mean, you feel like you're there, you know. As stupid as that sounds, I mean, in any movie you're supposed to put yourself in their shoes, but I mean, your heart's thumping in your chest the whole time.
Like,
it's intense.
Figuring it out as they go along, and you're also going like, well, what? I mean, what can you do?
Yeah. It was a really cool idea. I liked the
yeah.
idea of this movie, and I think
Very
it was
interesting,
pretty well
fresh.
executed, despite the fact that they obviously had a very low budget.
Yeah.
And it needed some polishing in places.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, cinematography was pretty good.
Yeah, there were a few shots in there where I was just like, they had a few nice landscape shots, aerial shots.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
there
yeah. It's
that
pretty
kinda give
area.
you a sense of place. Yeah. You really get a feel for the place. Something that I really got from it was right at the end when they bring in like this cosmic event and stuff. And, you know, the way these two people's paths collide and everything. And like I mentioned earlier, that sense of justice behind it. Like, because the only way this could end is with him dying.
Oh, of course.
You know?
Well, and there's... So let's follow that. I mean, you're saying cosmic justice. You know, when we talk about capital punishment, you know, ending somebody's life because they have committed atrocious acts, murder, you know, or many murders. Is it really justice to end their life? I mean, that's not a real punishment. I mean, it is if you believe in the biblical sense, like they're going to immediately go to hell and be tortured forever. I think the true torture would be
to make them live with their sins.
To make them forget and then remember that they're a serial killer.
If we could actually do that, that'd be a pretty good punishment. Yeah,
I mean, that is some biblical
to turn them
punishment
back into
right
a
there.
human being,
Serious.
and then make you realize you've been a monster your whole life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they really explore that. Like, I don't think it could have gotten any worse for him, you know? Once he starts, like, figuring things out, okay, and then, I saved a life? Well, maybe I'm a pretty cool guy. You know, he meets this girl, and she's kind of cute, and seems like she's
Don't
into
kill
him.
yourself, come to my cabin.
Yeah, and then,
Oh, wait. Come to my cabin so I can kill you.
Yeah. Things get dark. I'm a terrible person. So of course that's pretty rude awakening for this guy and the ultimate punishment, I'd say.
So something I want to bring up is how just utterly convenient the news was in this movie.
I know the exposition,
which is fine, whatever, sure. But I kind of laughed when they brought in the cosmic event. Because that was before you found out he's a serial killer.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of laughed at that. I was like, oh, they just explained it away as some lightning strike from space?
Right.
It's like, no. That really has a different impact once you learn he's a serial killer, because it is that cosmic justice that you're bringing
what are
into
the
it.
chances? Like, it doesn't make any logical sense. Even NASA's like, well, we don't know what the heck happened. Like, lightning came out of space?
Nah,
I don't know.
It was God saying, hey.
Some sort of powerful, otherworldly,
Some sort of justice.
supernatural event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was clearly directed towards them.
Yeah. Well, and I think something else that, as far as the simplicity of the, a lightning thing happened and they, a ball exploded and suddenly this happened. It has that, I don't think that it matters. I mean, other than maybe it was a supernatural event, like some sort of force came in there and made their lives intertwine in this way. Maybe she's going to get on with her life after this, get over the loss of her sister in some powerful way. And of course, he got the justice that he deserved, the most powerful justice possible. But as far as the event itself, we're trying to figure out the whole time, well, what happened to us? Like, what's going on with those people? That's not important. It's about
the cause of it, how it happened. No,
it's about how they're interacting with each other and how do you react in this situation, And then, of course, once you find out that he was a serial killer the whole time, I mean, how ironic that he's constantly throwing himself basically in danger, endangering himself so that other people won't die around him. He's afraid of killing people like any normal person would be.
Yeah.
He feels remorse.
And his last act is a heroic one.
Right.
He sacrifices himself so others don't have to die.
Well, not only that, I imagine that his death will allow her to not be in jail for the rest of her life.
One would hope.
Yeah.
Because, man, did she get the end of that stick.
Yeah.
If she does, but...
She very well might,
Who
actually.
knows?
I mean,
probably.
How exactly would that play out in court?
So you're telling me y'all got struck by lightning and he started killing people at a distance, so you hung around him more?
Yeah.
Wait, tell me that again.
That would not play out well in court. No.
Okay, prove it.
Yeah. He's dead. Yeah, maybe she beat the odds because he was not in the picture anymore. It was all him. He strung me along. I had nothing to do with it.
He had a gun the whole time.
Yeah, there you go. So I think the other obvious avenue to go down is humans as far as nature and nurture. And also, are we born good, or and the world slowly corrupts us? And
yeah, because they are blank slates after this event,
But they're naturally good, right?
I mean, he definitely has that shift, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's trying to get help. He sees that someone's died. I mean,
like the good is obvious to them.
The initial is survival, but once he figures out he's killing people, I mean,
he tries to isolate himself.
You're exactly, yeah.
Which I mean is also survival because, like, if people figure out I'm just killing people, they're going to come after me. There's that aspect of it too, but it does seem like there's a genuine motivation to I don't want to be killing people and I feel bad that this is happening.
Right.
Right. And he says as much in the film later on. So yeah, that is an interesting thing that the movie has to say. The whole blank slate, the Hobbesian sort of, are we just assholes or are we all right?
Right. I forgot about Hobbes.
Yeah. Interesting dude.
Yeah, what was the idea behind Hobbes again?
What's that?
What was his? I mean, was it just we're born blank slates? Or?
Oh no. Hobbes was cynical. He says we're all just trying to get away with the word.
Oh yeah.
Which like
now I remember.
Sort of.
Yeah, explain everything as like a even though we do good acts, they're not for good.
Yeah.
Overall,
we're trying to get away with as much as we can, including get away with it ourselves.
Okay.
I don't know if that's directly Hobbes, but that's kind of a connection from that. Like, can you live with yourself and what you've done?
I also feel like there was and you just said it earlier when we were explaining how he's trying not to kill people He's trying to do a good thing, but I mean, he's also protecting himself because, when you kill people, you go to jail.
And this is getting a little further away from the movie, but it comes up in the discussion. Sometimes the good is found in self-interest.
Mm-hmm.
They're not always a separate thing. Good doesn't have to be altruism.
Yeah. Well, some philosophers would disagree, right?
Idiots.
Was it Kant that was all about, never lie, never do anything wrong?
The categorical imperative was his ethics. It's a deontological model.
So, I mean, even if, you're lying for a good reason, it's like, no, because you're initially doing a bad act. And,
right. 'Cause
you should never do bad acts.
The idea behind Kant is, can you do the action forever and always? What if everyone did that all the time is the question. So if everyone lied all the time, it would be terrible. Right. So don't lie.
But if everyone did good all the time just because it's a good act, things would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be very broad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So telling the truth, if people told the truth all the time,
yeah,
probably be better.
So I don't know how we can bring this back. It's impossible to separate, I believe, in this case, whether he was doing things purely out of survival or because he believed they were good. But I'd like to think that he was doing them because he believed that they were good.
I don't think it matters whether he's doing it out of survival or out of goodness, because it's somewhere in between.
There you go. I'd like to lean towards goodness in this case.
What he was doing was good.
Yeah.
Whatever his internal struggle of it was, he was trying to save lives.
Right.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Right.
It was a good movie. And I didn't expect the post-movie conversation to go that deep because, it was just kind of a fun movie. But
it is a very simple movie. Yeah.
When you think about it, you do get into some of those, darker corners of the human nature.
Well, that movie is just this. I mean, It's all about human nature. Like I said at the beginning.
Well, it's like when that's something great that science fiction and horror do. We've talked about this with zombie movies. It puts normal human beings into a fantastical situation to see how they react under these extreme environments.
Right. I mean, the rules of how zombies are made or vampires or what have you doesn't really matter. No. It's all about how humans interact in crazy circumstances, especially circumstances that involve death.
So in a way, this movie's much more hopeful than a lot of, say, for example, zombie movies. Because when you see a zombie movie, you see how terrible people become. But in this situation, they interact with some supernatural event, and the good in him comes out.
Right. Well, and I suppose I'll slightly divert from this. There are a few times that he ends up. Well, is it a few times or just the one time? He ends up killing those dudes that were basically going to kill them at the very end of the film. These hicks. I mean, who are these guys?
Stereotypical rednecks with guns wanting to kill terrorists.
Yeah, I want to hit them in the face.
Yeah.
Stand them up. Yeah, he ends up killing those people out of survival.
Yeah, that was
but also out of love, I suppose. I mean, they're definitely trying to push that they're sort of falling for each other.
Oh yeah, the whole sitting in her lap, holding hands. Yeah. The last thing she says to him before they all find out he's a serial killer is, "I wouldn't mind if we were locked up together."
Yeah, she gives him that look.
It's like, dude, if you had just stayed there and her, you could have avoided the whole finding out you're a serial killer thing.
Oh God, that would have been even worse. I'm glad
Oh my God.
I am so glad that they avoided any actual just romance other than
just the flirtation,
furtive glances and touching like basic how our fingers touch,
because it just would have been so gross given the ending.
Yeah,
so gross.
It would have been very perverse.
Maybe they should have gone there. Yeah.
You know,
he should have gone there.
It would have perverted the whole thing they had going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it was beautiful, actually. It's subtle.
Because she fell in love with her sister's killer.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
she,
I mean, let's get corny now. So,
sure.
What, sorry. What allows you, to get over depression and despair and ultimately, I guess, murderous thoughts?
That's a really
the
long
power of love.
I mean, sometimes.
Well, in this situation, clearly,
yeah, I guess. But also, your sister's serial killer forgetting who he is and end up killing himself. That also helps.
Yeah, right.
That's a bizarre thing to think about. Like, because as soon as you try and think about this in terms of reality, like it breaks down. It's
right.
like, what would happen if you were struck by lightning and had amnesia and started killing people? Like, well, I don't know. But in this movie, that's what happened.
That's it's a very complex thought experiment.
Yeah. No, it was really good, and yeah, I do appreciate those themes. Well, I mean, and it's short, and it's just an interesting ride, and I'm really glad you shared it with me, and I'm glad we were able to share it with our audience.
Yeah. No, to say 1 minute more of the movie would probably have been too much.
Yeah.
Hour and a half was perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah. I love how they just immediately end. He shoots himself. Done. Movie's done.
Yep.
Wrapped up nice. All right. Well, hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll be back next week with another episode. Dum.
I'm sure whatever.
Yeah, that'll be our theme song.
No.
No. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Couch Theater. My guest and our creative consultant is Greg Dernbach. Artwork by Robot, who you can follow on Instagram at 20th Century Robot. All episodes are written and produced by me, Stefan Cowper, along with a few questionable baselines. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to us on YouTube, or you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all under Couch Theater. We hope that you enjoyed this week's episode and that you come back next week for another movie and another conversation.